Alright, so today we're in the engine room. We're working on Gage's motor, his 383 stroker out of LS1 that's going in his 2002 F-body Trans Am. We ordered the stroker kit from BTR. It sat out in the shop for a few weeks before we got ready to put it together, and the reluctor wheel was bent. Once I installed it, I pretty much got it to this point right here. I had the crank and all the mains in it, and the reluctor wheel, I just happened to see that it was bent. So we pulled it back apart. We sent that up to Mike Lau and had him change the reluctor wheel out for us. And now we got it back. We're ready to rock. As you can tell, I've got this thing dropped in the block. The main caps are set in place. We're about to start spinning bolts down. We got to put our rod bearings and our piston rings on our connecting rods and pistons. And then it'll be time to slap these bad boys in there. Now, as far as what we did to this, we sent the block down to Mike Lau. But we sent it down, we had it bored out to 3.903. As you can tell, the machine work is absolutely gorgeous. Got some oil running down in there. This block is crazy clean. The block has been modded a little bit for stroker stuff. But hey, we want to welcome y'all to week 2 of following us through the week and seeing what all we got to do and what kind of stuff we can break, what kind of stuff we can mess up along the way. This is our engine room. It's not much. It's our engine room / office. And it's summertime, so our kids are in here hanging out this whole summer. They'll be in here just hanging out, playing video games, and watch TV and shit. This is where Emma's roll cart's at. Like I said, it's not much, man. It's a couple stainless tables to lay out parts. Of course, we have my brother come in and paint our logo on the wall. It's just a nice, clean little area for us to be able to put together motors and not have to worry about the typical dirt and debris that's in a shop getting inside of an engine. So that's what we have this room dedicated to, other than the kids, and we got a cat. We do have a cat in our engine room. And if you don't like that, then you need to pet more cats or something, because our cat's freaking awesome. And it tends to stay off of the engine tables, actually. It'll freaking climb on everything else in here, but it doesn't really get on the engine table that much. So I'll take that as a win. That's a plus. Anyway, we're about to dive back into it. You may have saw I do have my phone set up on a tripod. We're shooting some TikToks today too. Trying to multitask and just do a little bit extra for you guys. Does slow us down a little bit, but at the end of the day, you only live once, right? So might as well try to document the cool shit like this, the nice clean stroker builds. You know, we do a little bit of everything here. We build stock bottom end rebuilds. We've slapped used pistons and stuff for people. We swapped out one cylinder head and band-aided it. You know, we'll help you and we'll try to fit your budget, but at the same time, we have standards. All right, so as you can see, we got the crankshaft in the block and it spins freely. And we got the pistons on the rods with spiral locks. Now we're getting the rings laid out and the groove lock spacers. Get those ready to install. Connecting rod bearings on there. We're gonna knock the pistons in this thing, get them all torqued down, which of course y'all know we only run, almost exclusively run King. Sometimes we get stuck with some other stuff. Alright, so while I was putting the piston rings on, Emma got all the rod bearings in. Of course, we had to fracture the rods. We're about to put these suckers in this block over here. Got this thing turned up. We're about to slide a piston in. Plastic gauge our connecting rod bearing with the crank. Make sure that we like our clearance. And we can choose the correct oil weight for this thing. Alright, so we got our plastic gauge. We'll lay it across that bearing. That way we get some wide coverage on it. And we'll torque this thing to spec, and then we'll unbolt it, pop this cap back off, and we'll measure it with the plastic gauge sleeve and see where we land. Should we close the gap good on that bottom one? Now we'll torque that to spec. Our spec card says 75 to 80 foot-pounds. Alright, so we're going to torque these to 75 foot-pounds. Definitely not using our torque wrench. We'll grab our snap-on ratchet here and we'll take these jokers loose. Go back to our handy dandy speed ratchet here. All right, so we're gonna check the plastic gauge here. As you can tell, we got in between 1 and 1.5 thou, which is right there at GM spec. Which tells us we're gonna run a 5W30 Dexos type oil in this thing. Got all the rods and pistons in this rig. About to call it a day. We'll come in tomorrow, get the cam slid in this thing. Oil pump, timing set, all that. Get the cylinder heads on it, lifters in it. And get it ready to go back in the car. That's gonna wrap up our Monday. All right guys, so we're back in here. It's Tuesday. We got the rotating assembly put in the block. Everything's looking good so far. We've had his cam put up in a bag and box down here on this bottom shelf. This is a Donald Thump cam ground out of a comp cam score. It is the cam that was in his motor. Of course, he wanted to keep that. Got some more parts laid out over here. He wanted to reuse his oil pump. Shiny upgraded rockers. Of course, we got new valve coat gaskets, new lifter trays, new head gaskets, new crank pads. We got a new set of lifters over here. Emma's about to get those pre-soaking now. Go ahead and open these up, see what they look like. She's gonna fill this tray up, and while those soak, we're gonna slide the cam in, get the oil pump on, the cam gear and timing set, and start getting the top end of this thing buttoned up. The cam plate, cam retainer bolts, some hardened cam bolts. All right, so we got our handy dandy ICT billet cam install tool. If you don't have one of those, you can find them on our website. And we've got this bump stick here. Like I said, this is the cam that we pulled out of this motor. The Donald Thump cam, ground in a comp cam score. We just bagged it and put it up so it didn't get any rust or anything on it. But we're gonna take this cam tool and bolt it up on here. We're just gonna use a couple bolts. It'll be fine. We're gonna take our driven HVL assembly lube. I don't know how YouTube is, but boy, TikTok be getting mad if you don't wear no gloves. If you wash your hands properly, then immediately go to putting the cam in. I hate wearing gloves, man. You end up popping the glove on the cam, or catch a load wrong, or rip the glove open, and then the cam slips and you almost drop the damn thing. And we've got it on a stick now. We're gonna put this thing in here. I'm just gonna lube this thing down real good. I'm just gonna very gently get that bad boy to slide through there. Now it's easy at first because you got all the leverage of the camshaft, but as you get down and get closer to this last journal on the front, it becomes a pain. That's where this tool comes in handy. Soak this thing down with the assembly lube real good, especially if it's going to be sitting for any amount of time. Alright, now here we go. And try to keep the lobes off of the bearings as we slide it through. We'll go ahead and go to our next one. The whole idea is use the cam tool to keep the cam straight. We'll take our assembly lube, lube the last little bit of this sucker up. And keeping it as straight as possible. I'll take it right in. Alright. Got this thing in time, as you can see. Put a little bit of blue Loctite on them cam bolts. Got that thing sucked on there. An oil pump. Alright, so whenever we're doing an oil pump on an LS, we shim them. Pump on the engine, get your bolts to where they're close to tight, but they're loose. That way the case can move. We're going to take two 2/1000 feeler gauges. As you can tell, these have shimmed mini oil pumps. We're going to go down here in between this bottom part of the case and the gear. And we're going to do the same thing like that. We're going to tighten up these tins. We're going to pull these out. Sometimes you got to get a needle nose or something. Don't want to pull the gears out, so be careful. So we're going to get all these started by hand, and then we'll look up the torque specs with these cover bolts with a torque wrench. I want to say they were like 18 or 22 inch-pounds.
I don't know what brand of oil pump that is.
Yeah, I don't either, but this is the one we pulled out of this motor, and the customer specifically asked for us to reuse his oil pump because he was happy with the oil pressure that he had. So we would have gladly put a new melling in it, but that's what he asked for, so that's what he's getting. You know, so we're not gonna run these all the way down. We're just gonna close some of the gap. Alright, so we got this thing set to 106 inch-pounds. We're gonna torque this cover, kind of like you do a wheel. Lug nuts on a wheel. Now the oil pump is installed. Alright, so we got the rotating assembly in this thing, we got the camshaft in it, we got the timing set and the oil pump on. Get Emma's car ready for her to trade tomorrow. She's got a trade deal lined up. You guys are supposed to be here first thing in the morning, so we had to set aside a little bit of time for that. We had to run it to Crosstown and pick up a truck that was at the exhaust shop that we dropped off last week. So we went and handled that as well. It's kind of been a slow day today, but we were able to get in here and get a little bit of time on this thing before it was time to go home. I think we're going to drop the lifters in it and call it a day. We'll come back in tomorrow. A couple things that we need to work on tomorrow. But tomorrow is our daughter's birthday, so we will probably not be here for a full day. We need to finish this thing, get it ready to put in the car, and we've got a C5 Corvette out there that needs a harmonic balancer and some codes disabled. Let's see where we land by the end of the week and what all we can get done. That's probably gonna wrap up our Tuesday, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Well, it's Wednesday. This guy's on his way for the 1985 Suburban to trade Emma for her Corvette. Like we talked about yesterday, this truck that she's trading for does still have a small block in it, but we got a plan. We're gonna change some things up around here. How you feel about your mom getting rid of her car?
I mean, sad to see it go after she spent all this time into it. And I like the car she's trading it for. Stress, I don't really want to see this go. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Same here.
It's kind of how we felt when we got rid of my car, huh?
It's the name of the game, though.
But when you're poor and you have to work for a living, you can't keep them all. And our list of stuff we want to build and have and own at some point in our life is long. We never thought we'd have this much fun with Corvettes until we accidentally got one. But at the end of the day, man, that's really what it is, you know, like, we were never Corvette people. And then I accidentally traded a side-by-side for a Corvette. I mean, I wasn't trying to trade it for a Corvette. I just wanted something that had an LS in it. And it would go faster than a fucking 05 Suburban. So it started out, I traded a 94 LT1 Camaro for a clapped out Polaris Razor that had an ungodly amount of money in upgrades and aftermarket shit, but it was a piece of shit. We had that side by side for like 3 weeks, and I posted it on Marketplace, and a guy hit me up with an 02 C5 Vet, which was my silver car. And even when we got that car, we were looking at it as a money move, like trade for this Vet, line it out and sell it. And then we just fell in love with it. Never thought we would enjoy a Corvette so much. And then Emma had her 07 Tahoe that we built and went through just about everything on the truck that wasn't done when we had already got it. She got a trade offer for this Vet about this time last year. But no, it did not look this good. It was on stock wheels, didn't have the spoiler. Of course, I had the stock intake and throttle body and all that on it. But you got this car, it had a sloppy stage 3 Elgin cam in it and a stock torque converter. Car wouldn't even do a burnout. I think she went her first pass down the track in this car with the sloppy stage 3, stock bottom end LS1, stock torque converter was 913. So we changed the cam to a Texas Speed 228. See, we put some long tubes on it. We put a FTI 2500 stall converter in it and put it on a tire. Then we put the Holley Ultra Low Ram LS2 90mm SLP Blackwing cold air intake. That's actually for a C6, but we made it work. And I think that's really all we changed up here, and she has not ran the car since we got that done. I feel like it's going to pick up a little more on the top end, but probably slouch out a little bit in the bottom end, so could help the car hook up a little bit better, but the car never really had trouble hooking. Like, these cars hook, and they do. You know, if you do a good enough burnout, they're on a tire. And don't get me wrong, like, F-bodies are fun too, but F-bodies fucking suck. They're uncomfortable. Like, if you ever rode front passenger seat in an F-body, you know what I'm talking about. The hump in the floor makes it so uncomfortable. And you would think this thing would be 10 times worse, but it's not. Like the passenger floorboard's so open, man. The seats are set up right. Hell, we drove mine from here in Northeast Arkansas to Akron, Ohio with this cam, this converter, and got 30 miles to the gallon, and then drove that car to the Corvette Museum. And it was not uncomfortable. You know, of course, any 20-hour road trip, it wasn't more uncomfortable than any other vehicle. I do hate to see this car go. It's been fun. It's another one that we've damn near went through everything on it. Pretty much down to like my car. We didn't do suspension on my car. That was the only thing that we did not do on my car. We've done just about everything in this car but suspension. It does still have the 273s in it right now, but it's got a set of 342s to go with it. And we know that when we gear swapped my Vette from 273s to 342s, we picked up 3/10 and 8. Car went 750s after that. That's another thing. If you got a C5 Vette, you want to break out a 8.0, or you want to go out and run 750 class at your local drag strip, 750 and 8 that is, you can take one of these cars, put a Texas Speed 228R cam in it, a set of 799 or 243 heads, a little stall converter, about a 2500, a good tune, 342 gear swap. These things will run 750 consistent. Without the gears, you'll net 780s. We didn't just do this in one car. That was the setup that I initially had in my car. And when I put the 6.2 in my car and changed the converter and all that, I held on to all that stuff. And then when Emma got this car and she took it out and it went 913, we was like, fuck that, watch this. And we dropped almost a second, in between a second and a second and a half. The cam heads and stall converter. It ain't nothing stupid fast, but man, it's fun. You can go out on a weekend and have a great time in one of these. And they get lots of attention, they sound good. And we're just waiting on this fella to show up with his bourbon now. Got any last words? Nope. It's been fun. Emma ready to build her old school. What'd you get, Emma? Y'all look at this thing.
Got the old stick shift.
This thing cleaner than most of y'all's personal hygiene. Look at this.
Hell yeah. Got the old 4-speed.
That's right. Pretty clean paint. Real clean paint. And it's the factory colors, so.
There's a lot of activities.
That's right. Y'all look at this thing. Headliner's in good shape. It is a custom deluxe. So we need to make sure we tell them that if we need parts.
Door shut really good.
Yeah. Alright, so we're back in here. It's Thursday. Trying to button up this stroker for the Trans Am. Got his head sitting here. Now look guys, I'm gonna put it like this. This guy had this cam and all that put in 20,000 miles ago. Top end, the whole top end of the motor was redone. We're gonna get his heads put back on here. Windows tray, pickup tube, front cover, oil pan, rear cover. So that, still gotta change that barbell out down there. No big deal. But it won't be long, we're putting this thing back in the car itself. While Emma gets the heads on that thing, I'm gonna work on putting the balancer on this C5. It's got the little wobble down there. So we're gonna do a balancer and an ARP bolt for the crank. We're short-handed, so we're on a time crunch this week. So I'm gonna bust ass and just try to get this thing done. Probably won't film a whole lot of it, but it is something we got going on this week. All right, so we got the old balancer retrieved. As you can tell, it's in rough shape. Looks like ass. That's what we got going on here. A little trusting of the fuel tank jack, not gonna lie. But we got a new one and we're about to put this thing back together. So, all right, so we got the balancer in this thing. I just gotta desensitize the knock sensors and it's ready to go home. And I think we've landed a trade deal for some wheels for him, a Suburban. We may end up road tripping down to Benton tomorrow to our homie Fat Boyz Garage, swapping these things out for some black 20s. Which actually, if we do that, the black 20s will be going on the square body, and the gunmetal 20s will be going on Emma's truck. Keep y'all posted on that. Not sure if that's going down yet, but we'll let you know. Emma did get the heads on the 383 stroker motor. Now it's just a few little things we got to put on there and it's ready to go back in the car. We'll probably try to start on that Sunday or Monday, and we'll keep y'all updated on that as well. But that's gonna sum up our Thursday. Touch back in with y'all tomorrow. All right, so it's Friday. I got Emma's truck in here on the rack. We're about to pull her wheels off, throw them in the bed of the square body. Already filled up with fuel. We gotta make a stop and get some ice for the cooler, and we're gonna shoot straight down and straight back, grab these wheels. Essentially what we're doing is we're selling these wheels and buying another set, but the set that we're getting is black with a polished lip. So we're gonna put the wheels that are on the square body now on Emma's truck, and I'm gonna put the black ones with a polished lip on the square body. Don't get me wrong, the wheels that are on the square body set it off, but I feel like with the clean, fresh paint job and this truck just looking as clean as it does, it needs the gunmetal and polished on it. And I've already got a black drag pack, a Jag Spike drag pack for the square body, so I mean, you guys can see what I'm getting at here. Black wheels on there ain't that big of a deal to me. Just set the GoPro up and pull these things off. All right, so we got them pulled off and loaded up. We're gonna let this thing down a little bit, and then we're gonna hit the road.
Hey yo, Shay.
Stop down here in Newport, get us some drinks and a little snacky snack. dumbass and never put everything in one bag. Busted on him in the parking lot. Alright, so we made it down here to the homie shop, Fat Boyz Garage, down here in Alexander, Arkansas. Got Rico Loves and Impala out here. Little G-body action, little Tahoe. Of course, there's the Square. Got the wheels loaded up. I need to polish the lips on them, but they look good. They don't look bad at all. Them wheels over there. Look at that shit. God damn. So we have made it back to the shop. Got the wheels unloaded. Let's swap them out on here. We're gonna put them on here. We might take those upper springs out down there. Depends on how much time we got today. got both sets traded out. Put on the trucks. Those are the ones we went and picked up today. We're going back this thing out and get some good shots.
Hey yo, Shay.
Alright, so this week we built a 383 stroker out of a LS1. Emma traded her Corvette for a 1985 Suburban with a small block in it and a 4-speed manual. And then we closed the week out today. We road trip down to our good buddy Fat Boyz Garage, did some wheeling and dealing, and come home with a set of 20s for the square body and put the 20s that were on the square body on Emma's Suburban. We also took a helper spring out in the back and brought the ass end down a little bit more on her Suburban. Way it don't look so grandpa-ish. But man, these things are starting to look. We got a nice little pair here, riding in style now. Andrew approves. He's a lot happier with the 20s on the Suburban over those 15s that were on there. But that's gonna conclude this week at 727 Motorsports. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Go follow us on Facebook and TikTok. And let us know in the comments the type of content you wanna see. If you guys are liking what we're doing, wanna see something a little different. We're trying to just kind of show you all the ins and outs of the business and how to work on these LS's and what we go through every day. But until next week, y'all have a good weekend.